Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for joining us, and hope your Memorial Day weekend is starting off well. We are live here every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. for the Minnesota Real Estate Show down here at WCCO. Show is hosted by Mr. Mike Overson, Luminate Home Loans, Scott Wolmering, myself, Ryan O'Neill of the Minnesota Real Estate Team. RE/MAX Advantage Plus. If you're catching us on social media, thank you. This is an interactive show. You can always reach out, comment wherever you might be seeing us, or again, 612-294-6949. A lot to talk about today with the business, with the market, interest rates, Twin Cities, Minnesota in general. Scott, Mike, good morning, guys. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Like Ryan said, this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show, and we're going to get going here pretty quick. Love your phone call, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us through the entire show. We're going to get into everything real estate related. We also have a fun question that we always send out this week. And going along with the Timberwolves playing in the NBA, who do you think is the most dominant player to ever play in NBA history? Now your answers might differ a little bit.
Okay.
Might have a different one with who the best player is. I'm talking about in a period of time, who is the most dominant player to ever lace up their sneakers in the NBA?
Very nice. Mike Overson, good morning, buddy.
Hey, good morning.
Any fishing this week?
We'll be getting a lot of fishing in this weekend for sure. Jen's actually gone, so she's in Ames, Iowa today and tomorrow for a country concert. So she's meeting her mom and some other family down there.
Fun.
So I got 4 kids to myself.
Mike!
And what do I do when I have them to myself?
Put them in a boat.
I put them in a boat.
That's right.
And I go fishing.
That's what I used to do. Everybody get in the boat. I know where you're at.
Yeah, fun.
Yep.
So is it a pontoon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
the only way I do it.
Yeah,
that's super
but
fun.
it is funny. That is. So I had 5 kids, and that is what dads do.
Yeah.
When you put them in a place where you can
Central spot.
Yeah, you can coordinate. Everybody get on the boat. Everybody get to the baseball diamond. Everybody get to the football stadium.
Yep.
You're all there.
All right, guys, we're getting ready to go live on WCCO. Again, a lot to talk about with the real estate market. Appreciate you joining us. And again, hope your Memorial Day weekend is starting off well. I've got a little sunshine here today. Again, it's 612-294-6949. Here we go. Well, good morning, everyone. And welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thank you for joining us, and I hope your Saturday is starting off well. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show on May 25th, 2024. We are live down here at WCCO, and we always welcome your questions, comments, thoughts throughout the show. You can call us or text us at 612-294-6949. 612-294-6949. The show is hosted by Mike Overson of Luminate Home Loans and Scott Wolmering and myself, Ryan O'Neill of the Minnesota Real Estate Team, RE/MAX Advantage Plus. Scott, Mike, good morning to you guys.
Hey, good morning, Ryan.
Yep. Good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We are going to get into real estate like we always do, but happy Memorial Weekend, first of all, to everybody. This is a great weekend to remember all of our fallen soldiers, everyone that was in the military. And my dad was actually a full colonel in the Army. So this is an important weekend to us. Hopefully you enjoy it with your family. We're going to get into all of our real estate stuff like we always do, but kind of a fun question with the Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals. The question kind of comes up, and those Facebook fanatics out there will see this kind of question come up quite a bit. Who is in your opinion, who's the most dominant player to ever play in NBA history? Now, it might be different than who you think the best player to ever play is, but who do you think is the most dominant player for a period of time that ever laced up their laces and played in the NBA? You can text us 612-294-6949, or you can call in with your answer, 612-294-6949.
Yeah, again, thanks for joining us every Saturday morning for the Minnesota Real Estate Show. The first segment, we always like to give a real estate and mortgage update. Mike Overson, Luminate, what's cooking mortgage-wise?
Well, I want to talk about rates because I got a big I told you so I got to give to Scott. here coming up for our predictions that we had come out a few 2-3 months ago. I think we were predicting where rates were going to be at, and when was that? By June or in May?
I think it was by the end of May.
By the end of May.
And I said incorrectly that I thought they were going to be in the fives because we were going to be close enough to the election that would happen.
Yep. So we're not there, unfortunately. We'd all love to be there. Trust me, we all want to be in the fives at this point, but we're not there. We've been hovering around 7%, a little bit over, a little bit under for the last couple weeks. It's so funny because if you look at where rates have been at since the first of the year, we got here on January 1st, rates were at 6.25. They have been as high as 7.5%, and that was about 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right. And so we've been running in this range of 6.25 to 7.5 since the first of the year. Actually been kind of ramping up a little bit versus ramping down like we thought since January 1st. So the reason why, it's all inflation. So if it's like we take a step forward and we take a step back, and then it's a step forward and it's a step back. And so any sort of inflationary reports out there, if it's good news, you see a slight dip in rates. And then all of a sudden 2 or 3 weeks later, another report comes out and it's, inflation isn't right where we want it to be at this time. And then all of a sudden rates float back up a little bit. So if you just watch inflation and read the news around inflation, if all that news is good, you're going to see rates going down. If inflation is like, it's like the Fed's like, it's not where we want it to be at this point. If that's the narrative out there that you see, then rates are going to float up. But where are we at now? We're hovering right around 7%, give or take just a little bit.
Interesting. Again, 612-294-6949. Let's look at real estate update in the Twin Cities. New listings increased 7% year over year. 1,553 new properties came on the market. Pending sales for this week were down 1,027, down 9%. And then the overall inventory is up 15%. So 15% more homes for sale. Almost 8,000 homes for sale in the Twin Cities. When we look at pending sales in the last 3 months, so if we compare year over year in the Twin Cities, they're up 5%. So inventory up 15%. Again, almost 8,000 homes, still historically low. That's a very low number historically, but much better. Guys, just a simple analysis is more inventory, rates have kind of steadied, more stuff is happening, more sales are happening.
Yeah, there is. Obviously everything is in perspective. We had a pretty much a down year last year, depending on who you believe, 20 to 30% drop. So the fact that our sales are up 5%, that's great. But it's not back to it. We both looked at each other, Mike and I, when you said, numbers are at almost 8,000 on the market. We're like, oh my God, 8,000. You got to remember, we had almost 5,000 homes on the market at some point last year. 18,000 or 19,000 is balanced. So we are still in an aggressive seller's market. The only reason it doesn't feel goofy out there right now is rates are at 7%. You take the same amount of homes on the market, drop rates to 5.5, and it'll blow your hair back. It'll get so crazy. So people are just sitting there watching.
Mike, what are you seeing from overall activity, from your business, from a mortgage standpoint, new applications, that type of thing?
It's been steady. It's, April, May, June are typically the 3 busiest months, in our industry here in Minnesota. Activity has been the busiest for sure. If you look at April and May so far, June is going to be a very good month for us, just looking at what we have on the books for closings coming up and the amount of pre-approved buyers out there. I mean, to be honest with you, I can't remember the last time I've had a backlog of this many pre-approved buyers sitting there waiting for the right thing, right? It might be for interest rates to come down. It might be for the right house to come along. Whatever that thing is.
Well, it's a combination of both those things.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we've talked about. The same amount of buyers. So I list a house, a 2-story in Lakeville for $425. Okay, instead of 600 people that have it saved as a search, I might have 1,000. But instead of 50 showings in a week, I'm going to have 8 or 9. So you're correct. Everybody's still there. They're approved. They're watching. They don't like what their payment is getting them for the type of house they can buy at 7%. And so it's a combination of, I don't like this payment, and I actually don't like the house I'm buying for that payment. And so everybody's sitting.
Yeah, I think again it's relative, not to be too much of a contrarian, but again, I think interest rates have been higher for a year and a half. So more people's just deciding, hey, life happens. It's time to move on. I think there are some people definitely sitting, but I think it seems like more people are actually doing stuff, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, we've got more closings for sure coming up. I mean, and there's that activity out there. And yeah, we have just under 8,000 homes on the market, you know, but take 1,000 homes and slap them on the market, and then how many come off right away too?
That's
So
right.
it keeps that level down. So there are more pending sales going on, which is keeping our inventory down. But
Yes.
I mean, 8,000 homes on the market. When's the last time we actually hit like 10? Do you guys
Well, I
remember?
think it was 3 years ago because we had predicted, hey, we might hit 10,000 by December. And then it was close. I don't remember. It was, 8,900 or 9,200 or something like that.
Guys, we're up against our first break at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. You're always welcome to join us by phone or text. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us at any point during the show. We are live here at WCCO again at 612-294-6949. We'll be back after the break. Thanks for catching us on social media, wherever you might be seeing us. Hope your weekend starting off well. Memorial Day, lot going on. We got some sunshine here, a little bit cooler, guys.
It is.
It's a little bit cooler than normal. Kind of waking up. What do you think, Mike?
Take that. Fine with that. I got a bunch of yard work to do and stuff, whatever, and like I'll take the cooler. So I don't sit there and-
65 and sunny is perfect if you're doing a little lawn work. But,
Yeah.
yeah, it is going to be it's going to be an interesting. Well, we're almost at the half year mark.
Right.
For agents, May 30th is kind of your 6 month mark, and it's a very similar year to last year. Frankly, it feels very similar. We're up, I think, 5 or 6% in total sales, and it just seems to me, to Mike's point, that we just have kind of a powder keg of people that are there that have been waiting to jump into this thing for a year and a half, and something just needs to set them off. And I think that something is a drop in rates, high fives, low sixes off the dime.
And are you feeling, Mike, that is a potential before the election or no?
Rates in the fives?
Yes.
Anywhere in the fives? A 5.99 before the election? No, I don't think it's going to happen. I would probably put pretty big money on it that it's not going to happen before the election.
No go?
At this point, yeah. You just look, I mean, even if you look at there's a report that came out just yesterday on Friday that said the feds came out and basically said their rate hikes that they did last year, how many did they do? They did, 5 or 6 rate hikes last year.
Yeah.
They said it just didn't tame inflation as much as they thought it would.
Hey, I got a question for both of you on inflation, and I read this. So inflation numbers. So when they say inflation's not, crazy, and everybody's like, "What are you talking about? I can't even fill my car up, or I go to the grocery store and I want to slit my wrist. What in the world?" Well, I saw that inflationary numbers do not include gas, groceries, or housing. Is that correct?
I have not heard that.
Yeah, I just literally read it that those 3 things, and I was like, well, those are major parts of what people are feeling. I mean, how can you not include groceries when that's the biggest sting that people are feeling? Or how can gas not be in there when those are,
Maybe it's like a specific government report that's not allowing that.
I don't know
But
if anybody knows about
Yeah.
that, but I read it and I was like, man, that makes no sense. But they said, yeah, the 3 things that are not in are gas, groceries, and housing.
Yeah, I had a text come in. You can always text us at 612-294-6949. This one again regarding the home inspection. Will my home inspector get up on the roof to do a roof check as well as the interior of the home? Roofing checks?
I mean, every inspector is different, but an inspector that's worth his salt should be getting on the roof and checking, not only checking the shingles, but also checking the dexterity of the underlayment of the roof. Is it soft? is it's squishy when you walk on it.
Mm.
Because if you have a rotten roof, a lot of times you can also get leaking beneath the shingles that affects the underlayment.
So squishy, like if a foot kind of goes
It goes
down.
squishy. You would know squishy. It's a squishy.
Goes down.
Yeah, it's a technical real estate term.
Mike's looking
Yeah,
at
it's
some
squishy.
stuff up there,
Squishy.
aren't you, Mike?
Yeah,
What do you got?
I'm Googling squishy roofs right now just to see how big of an issue that is.
Yes. Well, I think it's a technical term.
Yeah.
We have to replace your roof. Why? Well, because it's squishy.
Yes, it is. Slowly but surely. What do you got there, Mike?
Well, I was just looking at appreciation by decade. You know, so when we talk about home values and stuff like that, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but if you look at this chart, I should almost have quiz you guys to see what you think.
Well, I was going to say that 2005 would, yeah. So 2005 was the highest.
Here we go, guys. We're going to go back on air. Maybe
Depreciation.
Maybe bring that up on air, Mike. That's a good one. Here. Again, 612-294-6949. Hey, welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Hope your Memorial Day weekend is starting off well, and we appreciate you joining us. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us anytime throughout the show or the week. Got a few listings to feature, guys. Cat Kit has got a very nice property, 5590 Woodside Lane for $394,000. It's in Maple Grove. It's Pulte built. It's a townhome, close to shopping, close to Rush Creek Golf Club in Gleason Fields. It's a 3-bed, 3-bath, 2-car garage. It's got a beautiful open kitchen, white cabinets, white quartz countertops, a large island, stainless appliances. Very nice main level entertaining area, open concept kitchen, living room, dining area, and outdoor patio. Mike, all the bedrooms are on the 2nd floor with an upper level laundry, close to shopping. Very nice property. Check that out. 5590 Woodside Lane for $394,000 in Maple Grove. Very nice, nice listing there, Mike. I'm interrupting your table. You've got a table for us there.
Yeah, I'm not very good at numbers, but I like looking at them. So I got a little quiz for you guys. So, and this is national statistics, not just Minnesota national statistics, but it's the question was, is real estate worth the risk?
Yep.
And so they're basically looking at, if you look at appreciation or depreciation of real estate, is it worth the risk to buy real estate?
Sure.
Right. So if you look at the last 10 years in the US, right, how much has real estate appreciated in those 10 years? Now, residential, like single family, condo, townhouse, residential real estate, how much has that appreciated in the last 10 years?
That the entire country? This is for the
This is
entire
a
country?
national statistic. Yep.
So since 2014,
Yeah.
roughly,
Yep.
what has housing gone up from 2014 to 2024?
Correct.
I would say on nationally, it's gone up. Let me see, 2014. I'd say we've gone up 38%,
Ryan?
I would say 16.
72%.
72%.
Whoa!
Yeah.
72%. Now let's look at the last 5 years, right? So we got the COVID years, which were crazy,
Yeah.
right? So the last 5 years, then how much has it gone up in the last 5 years?
I would say 38%.
62.
42%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 42% in the last 5 years, and then the last 10 years, a total of 72%. You know, it's crazy. So obviously during the crash, we had a decline in real estate, but that's one of the few declines going all the way back to 1942.
What were the years that when prices dipped? Again, on your chart there, was that 2000?
So 2007,
Six, I was gonna say
2007 was down how much?
it says 5% nationally. 2008 was down 12%.
Yeah.
2009 down another 4, 2010 down another 4, 2011 down another 4.
So speaking of that time period, a lot mortgage guidelines, rules, everything has changed since that time period. That was a big reason for what happened, for the decline. But Mike, this has been a common theme. I'm hearing from a lot of people, just seeing emails and in our market about zero down, about lenders offering zero down. Is that a thing again? Help us understand that a little bit. What does that mean?
So there's only 2 true zero down programs out there today. That's the VA loan, which is a true zero down program. You do not need a down payment.
And what's the other one, Ryan?
USDA.
It is
You're
USDA.
quizzing me.
I am.
So VA and USDA are the only true zero down programs out there right now. There's programs out there that will give you down payment assistance to help you cover the down payment, that might be a net zero to the buyer, right? But they're not true zero down, right? So you have a second loan out there that you still have to pay off. You have a second loan out there that's either gaining interest or maybe it's not gaining any interest on it. And the repayment of that second loan is different. But the only two true zero down payment programs are VA and USDA. If you get to the conventional side of things or FHA loans, those still require a down payment.
Okay, so down payment assistance, and how common is that? Like with transactions you're doing, how many of them are down payment assistance?
It's not many, just because it's tougher to get a down payment assistance offer accepted by a seller. So that's the biggest hurdle. There's a ton of programs out there. There's a lot of great programs out there, and a lot of them do have like a grant type of deal with them where you don't have to pay the money back as long as you meet certain criteria, right? So it is kind of free money, if you will, for a lot of them. But the problem is that when a seller's looking at 5, 6, 7 offers, and they have, a conventional 50% down, a conventional 20% down, and then you have, hey, I'm going to do an FHA loan with down payment assistance, it's real tough to get that accepted.
Yeah, it is. We had a few people that have come in on the question today. Who do you believe is the most dominant player to ever play in the NBA? And we have had quite a few that were Michael Jordan. We have had Lou Alcindor, who is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We had Wilt Chamberlain, but a lot of Jordans, a lot of LeBron. I'll give my answer. And again, if you're driving, please shoot us your answer, 612-294-6949, or call it in. Mine is actually Shaquille O'Neal. Now, I believe the best player that has ever played, not even close, is Michael Jordan. But as far as the most dominant player at his time, I believe it was Shaquille O'Neal. And for those that remember back in those days, the only way to stop Shaquille O'Neal was they called it a hack-a-shack because you couldn't shoot free throws. So the last 5 minutes of the game, you literally just fouled him and fouled him and fouled him. And I saw a statistic that if he shot 80% from the line, which is horrible, he'd have like 5,000 more points than Michael Jordan had. He just couldn't shoot free throws, but you could not stop the man. But Michael Jordan's the best player, I believe, that's ever played.
Hey, Mike, we did have a question too about hard money loans, saying, do you guys do any hard money loans? What is a hard money loan? Do you do any of that?
So hard money loans are when you're completely outside of the box of any sort of like traditional lending product out there. And so then you have some that's like, look, some people bet on the horse, some people bet on the jockey. The horse, in real estate is the collateral on the loan, right? So that'd be the house and stuff. So if you have money down, and what does the collateral look like? Hard money loans, a lot of the times it's like, we're going to bet on the jockey, right? So it's like, do we think this guy's going to pay us back? If so, yep, we'll give him a loan. It's going to be higher interest rate because you're not inside that box, and there's going to be more fees with it. But then it's still financing that you can get your hands on to get done what you want to get done.
Hey guys, before the break, one other thing maybe to get your comments on, the U.S. Census Bureau came out and said that the median single-family home in the United States, the size of that declined 4% annually last year. And this is the lowest reading that's been since 2010. So in almost 15 years, and they said with housing costs on the rise, townhomes have become an increasingly popular choice among buyers and builders alike, accounting for almost 20% of all housing starts. Interesting, guys. Houses are getting smaller.
We talked about it remember that? We talked about it 3 years ago, that was going to start happening. And the point, I even remember the conversation, the point was, if you had bought new construction in the last 5 years, you can really compete directly with new construction coming on for the first time that I've ever seen. Because if you were a 1,500 footprint for $480, and you're building in the same neighborhood, phase 3, you were phase 1, you were 1,500 square feet, 3,100 square feet above ground, etc. Now it's still 480, but it's a 1,200 footprint, and you're 2,400 square feet above ground, and you're still 480. So if you're a 3-year-old house and this one's just built, hey, if somebody comes in there like, God, I get another 600 square feet, it's the same number, feels like new. You can actually compete, but they are getting smaller, so only make it affordable.
Guys, before the break, another listing to touch on, 908 16th Avenue North in South St. Paul. 315,000. Fong Kao has this listed with the Minnesota Real Estate Team and Remax Advantage Plus. It is a 4-bedroom. It's got a recently remodeled kitchen, new flooring, fresh paint. Fong says there's an opportunity to build some equity. Kitchen opens up to an add-in in the back. He's doing an open house tomorrow, so Sunday the 26th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Check that out, 908 16th Avenue North, South St. Paul for $315,000. We're at the halfway point here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. You are welcome to call or text anytime, 612-294-6949. We'll be back after the break.
When you have questions or comments about the
Yeah, it is. It's interesting though, Mike, when you think about that. Homes smaller. Anything financing wise that you're noticing with that, or things that pertain from an appraisal standpoint, or any items of interest with that?
I mean, we do a ton of new construction. So myself and Hudson in our branch, we have loan officers in our branch that are the preferred lenders for 3 different builders here in the Twin Cities. We haven't run into any appraisal issues, as far as, the homes are getting smaller for the new construction, but they're still coming in at value and stuff. And so I haven't seen any hurdles or anything with
Is
that.
there pressure from the appraiser to hit a number? They see the purchase agreement, right? And is there pressure? Do they get a negative mark or something if they come in lower? Or maybe talk about that a little bit.
No, they don't get a negative mark if they come in lower. So, appraisers can get blacklisted, right? So typically if they're too aggressive on the value and they're coming in high in the value, right? It's like, hey, these comps that you used over here, are all around that 550 to 570 range, right? And then all of a sudden we got this house over here that's a little bit smaller in square footage. That's our subject property, but it's coming in at 580, right? So then underwriting starts looking at that, and it's like, if you get too many reports on that where you're coming in too aggressive, then they're going to start reviewing that and stuff, and then they can blacklist an appraiser for being too aggressive on value.
The one thing I was going to say, Scott, maybe you guys could comment on this, is so I was talking to a team member this week, an agent on the team, who had 2 different appraisals where they wrote a super aggressive offer, multiple offers, and they wrote a really high offer, and they thought there's no way this is going to appraise. And the way they had the offer structured, it protected the buyer. But it appraised once at that number, and then they actually did it again, and it appraised twice. And the comps that they used, our agent feels, was not similar. So it was, I don't know.
Well, I would disagree a little bit. I believe there is pressure to hit it. And what I mean by that, I think the job of an appraiser is to not hang the bank out. And so it's like any other human nature thing that we do. If your job as an appraiser is to get loans done and approved, for the bank to make sure they're protected, and you've got a 30% down buyer, a 20% down buyer, a 50% down buyer, are you going to be a little bit more lenient on having that number hit because the bank is protected? You're not going to be goofy, but are you going to really come in with a $2,500 low appraisal on a $600,000 house when the people have 30,000 or 30% down? Probably not.
Right.
That's it. What was interesting about this, though, again, is the agent wrote the offer, and so it brings home the point that the buyer's got to be willing to pay what they write the offer for.
Well,
And
yeah.
in this case, they were very upset because they felt like it was $40,000 or $50,000 high.
Yeah.
So they won the deal, but now
They won the deal.
Yeah, they won the deal.
Well, here's where I've always said, if appraisals were an actual tool to actually have real numbers, real value, without any indication of whether the bank's happy, not happy, they get the loan or they don't, an appraiser would not be able to see the purchase price.
Sure.
Because why would they? Why would you need to see a purchase price if you are literally another conduit to tell us the value? In fact, you could argue that seeing the purchase price could make you a little bit, what's the term I'm looking for?
Jaded.
Yeah, toward something.
Yeah.
Because you really should not have to know it. So I think it's like anything else. It all works well together, but yeah, you can't have an appraiser coming in low all the time.
Biased.
Biased, that's it, yes.
Biased. Yeah, it is.
And is an appraisal an exact science, Ryan?
No.
No, it's an opinion of
That's
value.
right.
That's why you can have 2 appraisers look at the same house, and one's going to say, I think it's worth this. The other one's going to say, I think it's worth this. Their comps and their data in there supports their opinion on what that value is, but it is not an exact
Here we go, guys.
That's
We're
right.
going back live on air, WCCO. Hope your weekend's going well. Thanks for joining us. Welcome back. to the second half of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Hope your Memorial Day weekend is going well. We are live here every Saturday morning for the show, hosted by Mike Overson of Luminate Home Loans, Scott Walmering, and myself, Ryan O'Neill, with the Minnesota Real Estate team. Guys, Bill Ebert has got a nice one in Chautauqua, Wisconsin. This listing, got to check out the pictures too, 1950 North Highway Boulevard, unit number 8, 259.9. It's in the twos. It is a two-bed, beautiful two-bed, one-bath, 3-season cabin over on Prairie Lake. It's got a large lot, and it was originally part of the old Snug Harbor Resort. Bill said there's a large paver block patio with a bonfire pit. It's about 2 hours northeast of St. Paul, 135 feet of shoreline, room for 3 docks. The lake, Mike, is 1,400 plus acres. Great for fishing. There you go. No condo association or HOA fees. The cabin has been recently updated. It's got an open concept kitchen, dining, living room areas. Again, it's close to the city of Chautauqua. It's just 5 to 10 minutes away for shopping, dining out, tavern, resort, nightlife. And Prairie Lake is connected to the Chautauqua chain of lakes. So there's 3,700 acres of lake boating, travel, entertainment. Check that out. 1950 North Highway Boulevard, unit number 8, Chautauqua, Wisconsin, 259. Mike, you could take your boys out there.
Yeah. Love me some fishing. Wonder what kind of fish you got in there.
Little bit of a fishing. Hey, this is an interesting question. We haven't had this one in a while. This one just said, is a fridge automatically going to be in the house after closing for me? Will the fridge be there? That's a good question.
I mean, the answer is yes, probably, even if you didn't write it in. Because in Minnesota, about the only thing that is kind of a negotiated item is the washer and dryer. In other states, they actually do move their fridge, but in Minnesota, for the most part, your dishwasher, your refrigerator, that's going to stay. It is always smart for your agent to write some kind of a verbiage that says all of the appliances currently in use on the property are showing on date, blah 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 blah, will be there at conveyance. But for the most part, it will go with. But always make sure that you identify the washer dryer. If you excluded an MLS, so you put refrigerator and all the other personal property, and don't put in washer dryer.
Yeah.
The assumption of that buyer a lot of times is that the washer dryer is going to be there at walkthrough. So make sure on the purchase agreement itself, you are clear on what's going to happen with the washer dryer.
Anything, it's got to be built in, essentially. So built in, attached, affixed, it stays. Anything that is not attached, affixed, can be removed. And that's an unhappy day when you see a fridge gone, a washer, dryer, a variety of different things. It's like, hey, you walk in, hey, where's my fridge?
Or how about this? It's happened for any of us that have done real estate as long as I have. This has happened either with you or agents that work with you on the team. Is so everything attached. So in the master bathroom, you had ornate mirrors, very ornate mirrors that hung in the master bath, separate for both the husband and the wife. And when you come in, those ornate mirrors are gone. And you say, well, no, those were affixed. And the person says, well, not really. We just hung them like you would hang a picture.
Sure.
Those are also things you need to be clear on, because, of course, the assumption is I'm going to want to look at myself in the morning when I brush my teeth. And so those mirrors
or not.
Those mirrors are going to be there. Well, it depends. Are they bolted to the wall, or are they hung with a little?
That's a good question. Do you look at yourself, Mike, when you brush your teeth?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
I don't.
You don't?
I don't know. I just.
What do you do? Turn your back to the mirror?
No,
I do. I don't
you
want to
just-
see
just
my own
brush-
mouth.
You just brush your teeth. It's I don't know.
Oh, I look at myself intently when I brush my teeth. I talk to myself when I'm brushing my teeth.
Oh boy.
So that brings up a good question, right? So now I'm thinking, right? You got a TV mounted to the wall.
Yes.
Okay.
TV goes, mount stays.
Okay, that's what it is. All right. So the mount is what's affixed
That's
there,
affixed.
but the TV itself is not affixed there. So
Correct.
the TV can go, the mount stays.
Yep, which reminds me of the other side of that. If you're a buyer that doesn't want a bunch of freaking TV mounts hung, you have to write in remove TVs and all TV mounts.
Yeah, just
TVs are assumed, but
Yeah, it's a good thing. Again, in a personal property addendum, part of the purchase agreement, your agent is going to be writing that in there to ensure that what you want is there, and what you not, what is not there. Mike, your comments about the home appreciation was interesting. I think for a lot of people, they may be thinking, "Hey, look, prices are high. That was nice 20 years ago." Thoughts on that from a value standpoint?
Well, I just, so we still have some people out there, right? And the reason why this came up, we still have some people out there thinking there's some sort of crash or correction coming up here. And
There's not.
and they're trying to compare it to 2007 through 2011 where it went down. Back then, what was our inventory level back then, Scott?
We went from 18,000 the last quarter of 05 to 33,000 the first quarter of 06. So in 90 days, we over doubled our inventory.
Yeah, I mean, and so the inventory we have today, 7985, right? We've barely even touched 10,000 listings. If you look at the last 10 years in the Minneapolis area, we've barely touched 10,000 listings once, maybe twice during those 10 years.
Sorry, go ahead.
So are we going to have some sort of major correction or value drop or something like that happen? No, because we just don't have the supply for that to happen. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to be we lose 30% of our value in a year. I mean, that's what happened when everything crashed. And I know that we say that the market actually crashed in 07. It actually crashed in 06. There was just so much mortgage fraud going on for that year. People didn't know what we were dealing with. But we're not going to have that kind of a drop. Are we going to see kind of like what we're seeing right now? Is there times where it's flat? Rates go from 6 3/4 to 7.5. Does it flatten out for a 3-month period? Sure. But we're not going to see these drastic big drops. And so, the whole thing that every agent, under the sun is posting on Facebook, buy the house, marry the rate, blah, blah, blah.
Marry the house.
Date the rate. And it does make sense because you want to be able to get a house at the actual value it's at. And yeah, the payment might sting for a little bit, but there's a better chance for mortgage rates fluctuating into a rate that makes sense for you, outside of trying to pinpoint the perfect time to buy the house at the lowest amount. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, we're up against the 3/4 point here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Before we do hit the break, Mr. Durotti, Ryan Durotti, with the Minnesota Real Estate Team and RE/MAX Advantage Plus. He's got a nice one, guys, in Plymouth, 12610 46th Avenue North for $650,000. It's a 5-bed, 4-bath, 2-story. It's on almost a 0.4 acre lot. It's got an in-ground pool, screened-in pool house, vaulted 3-season porch, and Rye says the family room features beamed and white shiplap ceiling, very cool, built-ins, and a fireplace. He's doing an open house today, Saturday from 12 to 2. Drinks on the deck provided. That's fun. He just said go Wolves too. Again, 12610 46th Avenue North in Plymouth for $650,000. Check that out. Ryan Durotti will be out there today from 12 to 2. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show on WCCO.
Ryan Durotti's serving drinks on the deck. You might want to take an Uber to that open. I'm not sure.
You didn't say what kind
I'm
of
not sure
drinks.
you're going to get out of there without Ryan.
We're going to pull up in a party bus,
That's
just
right.
like
That's right.
30 people on this thing.
Yeah, hit the deck.
Yeah.
Plymouth. Plymouth is a desirable. It is just funny how certain cities in the Twin Cities have kind of a desirable ring, some not. Obviously, it depends a lot on school district. What else, guys? Crime.
Yeah.
Closeness to amenities.
That's right. Yeah, it was interesting when we're talking about just certain times. You'll probably remember I called you from this after this open. So for people that don't know real estate that well, a Thursday open is typically an open that you might get a few people through, but it's not as active as you would get on a Saturday or Sunday. So you normally do a Thursday open from like 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock when people are getting off work,
Sure.
etc. So anyways, I had a buyer. It was a $700,000 house, and we were going to go see it. We had a showing set up in Plymouth, and it was during the COVID days. So it was just kind of at the end of it where people were wearing masks. You couldn't have a bunch of people in the house, but they were allowing people in the house.
Yeah.
There had to be 175 people at this open in Plymouth from
Mm.
5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And you literally had to wait because they'd only let 15 in at a time.
Mm.
But that's how crazy
Wow.
that market was when rates were, at 3%. 100. I mean, the driveway was packed with people on a Thursday over.
Were they masked?
Oh, I don't remember. Probably. I'm sure we were.
Oh yeah, it is interesting times over the years with real estate. You know, you just think about the ups and downs of the market. Rental wise, I know there's been some articles recently about less building of new apartments. I mean, eventually that had to happen.
Oh my gosh,
I mean, it's
yeah.
just been like everywhere.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those people that this will be an interesting one that I kind of forgot about, but I just sold a house to a longtime client of mine. He bought a house for his daughter. And he reminded me that I got licensed in 1998. So this was probably the beginning of 1999. They had their home for sale by owner for 3 weeks, couldn't sell. And so, and I remember the numbers. It was listed at 180. I listed it at 210. And we had 16 offers on this house at 210. And one of the offers that we had was $15,000 more than any other offer.
Okay.
Well, my seller wanted to go with it. The problem was that offer would be contingent on them selling a home in Farmington. Well, people know that during a multiple offer, a contingent offer never goes through. Well, my client was like, but it was 15 grand more. And so I said, Scott, can you sell it? And he said, well, yeah, I'll sell it. So we took a $15,000 more contingent offer. And the embarrassing part of that, which I was honest with him, I said,
Right.
The embarrassing part is now knowing what I know now, we would not have taken a contingent offer with me selling the contingent offer. We would have gone obviously to somebody that was $15,000 less, that was 20% down or whatever, and see they would pay it. But I was brand new. I didn't know. So
You
I
were
was like,
excited.
I was excited, but he brought it up and I said, I got to admit to you, that should not have happened. I mean, we should have got to somebody else, but I was so new, I didn't know.
It's
Yeah.
funny, we are seeing more contingent offers in this
Oh my
market.
gosh.
Yeah, we're seeing more again. Contingent meaning that you've got to sell a house, sell a property to buy. And so we are seeing more of that. It's important, again, if you're going to accept that kind of offer, look at what we call the backup property. Is it on the market? How is it priced? You know, what is the sales velocity for that area, if you will? Those are important things, Mike, to look at.
Yeah.
Contingent offers. Right?
Are they getting accepted?
Some are. Here we go. We're going back live on air. Final segment. Thanks for joining us. Hey, it's the last hurrah here for the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Before we dive back in, we had one final listing to hit on, guys. Mr. Mike Hilber has got one in Lindstrom, 31468 Maria Avenue for $700,000. It's a coming soon property, and it's going live, open for showings on the 31st. 2018 custom built, 2,044 finished square feet, 3-bed, 3-bath walkout rambler. Scott, it's on North Lindstrom Lake. The interior of the home has 10-foot ceilings and floor heat, Marvin windows, luxury vinyl plank flooring. The exterior includes both a patio composite deck on the private west-facing bay for beautiful sunsets. North Lindstrom Lake is connected to the largest chain of the Chisago Lakes with over 3,000 acres of water for you to enjoy. Mike says, come enjoy the trophy fishing, water recreation, shops, parks, restaurants, and award-winning, Mike, Scandinavian donuts in the lakes area. Check that out, 31468 Maria Avenue in Lindstrom for $700,000. Nice one, guys. Living on the lake.
It is. Well, I'm a Bemidji boy, so I love that. You know, it is. We were talking a little bit on the break, which I think is worth mentioning, about contingent offers. And like Ryan explained, contingent offers. There's a lot of contingencies, but the one we're referring to is contingent on the sale of another house. I haven't taken one in 10 years, you know, because of the way that the market has been. Well, I just had 5 offers that were going to be written on a townhome sale that I have, and they were all contingent.
Wow.
And you know, at first I was like, we're not interested in contingent offer, but eventually every single offer was going to be contingent. And now we're on the market for a week. So we ended up taking a contingent offer. And to Ryan's point at the break was pay attention to the backup house. It was a $310,000 backup single family home in Cottage Grove. So I knew it would move quick. And we ended up taking it, but we are seeing those and we haven't seen them for years.
Yeah, again, you know, just simple terms. the buyer needs to sell the house, needs the money from that property to purchase a new one. Sometimes people are non-contingent. Maybe they're a first-time home buyer. Maybe they do own a home, but they have the ability to purchase another home. Mike, how common is that? Do you see with pre-approvals in that case?
It's more common than you think. More people will qualify to carry 2 house payments
Yeah.
and go buy that next house without the sale of their current house happening. It's not as easy for them. It's not as comfortable for them because maybe they have to liquidate retirement or something to make that happen, and they'll end up just repaying those retirement accounts back once they sell their old house. But more people will qualify for that situation than you think. But it's that comfort level. Do we really want to, is that something we really want to do? That usually they want to try the contingent offer first, and then if they lose out, then
Then they
they'll
have the
go to that, right?
Yeah, it's like on this one. Also, I think of the type of individual that might go contingent. So this particular townhome was a rambler. So all of the buyers were probably over the age of 55 for sure, but I would say a lot of them were actually into their 70s. Well, that particular type of buyer doesn't really have a fear of loss. They also don't take a lot of risks. So they want to have their home sold before they buy something else. And when you have 5 or 6 of them that are all saying the same thing, then you don't go, well, it just has a little bit to do with just the age of who our buyer is. They're not going to step out. They're not comfortable enough. And so we're going to have to look at a contingent offer.
Yeah, be sure to check out mnrealestateshow.com. That has all of our great partners that are part of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Different, again, home inspection companies. Steve Groen with Standard Water does a lot of basement waterproofing. Check out all of those different partners. Again, mnrealestateshow.com. We also have a investment property seminar and a first-time homebuyer seminar each month live in Bloomington. We also stream that on social media. A great spot to learn. Maybe you're interested in investment property. Maybe you are a first-time homebuyer. Maybe you have a son or daughter, grandson, granddaughter that is interested in buying their first home. Those are free, informational, Mike. We've done those with you and your team at Luminate for years.
Yeah, it's just a great place to start to get info, and then you can literally ask any question you want to, and you have licensed real estate agents there that are experienced agents, and you have loan officers there too that you can ask questions and get real info versus going on Yahoo and getting 10 different answers for the same question that you type into it. So.
Yeah, well, that we don't talk about that a lot, but obviously everybody listening to the show, we actually make a living by selling real estate. We do the show and we've done it for 15, 18, whatever, it's 10 years. And hopefully it's enjoyable and hopefully you get some good information out of it. But at the end of the day, we keep the lights on by selling and listing homes. So if you do have a need, like Ryan was saying, if it's your personal need, or you're thinking about maybe selling next year and you want to know a value on your house, or your granddaughter is graduating from college and you think it would be a good idea to help her buy her first house or his first house, whatever the reason is, we're here to help. You can go to mnrealestateshow.com 24/7 or 612-294-6949 if you just want to talk.
Had one other comment about the most dominant player. This one was Wilt Chamberlain.
Yes.
He said Wilt Chamberlain. And we had one other person say LeBron.
Yes, people love LeBron. It is and it is an interesting story because yes, at the time there was nobody as dominant as Wilt. I mean, you could not stop Wilt. He's most people that don't know, he scored 100 points in a game. Because you couldn't stop him because he was so physically superior to everybody else he's playing. But if you put Wilt in the NBA right now at 7 foot tall and 125 pounds, I'm not sure he'd probably dominate.
Yeah.
Mike, speaking of dominating athletes, that's Mike Overson.
That is Mike Overson.
Mike,
yes.
you were a college athlete, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah.
Yep.
This guy, not only the hardest working man in mortgage, he is also the what was it? Football.
College, it was football.
Yeah. What position?
South Dakota State linebacker.
Wow.
Yeah, you look like a linebacker.
Linebacker.
Yeah.
I brought the water to the linebacker.
Scott too was a college athlete.
I was.
Yes.
Tennis.
Hey, before we wrap up for the day, again, we're wishing everyone a wonderful and special Memorial Day weekend. Again, Memorial Day is obviously an American holiday, and it's honoring all of the men and women who've died while serving in the U.S. military. So again, a big thank you, thinking of those families, friends, and giving a lot of thanks for them today, guys.
Yeah, just it's a great weekend. You know what we all think of it as Americans as our hey, we get a 3-day weekend. And as you're enjoying your 3-day weekend, yeah, just take a moment to really think about why you're able to take the free day weekend or the free day weekend.
Yep. Yeah, Mike, last thoughts?
You know, if you look back 5 years ago, right? If you were like 5 years ago, like, should I buy a house or should I rent? I'll probably just go rent, right? You missed out on 42% appreciation.
That's right.
But have you missed the boat? So let's say we fast forward 5 years today, it's like you still haven't bought. Have you missed the boat? No, you still have not missed the boat.
We'll be doing this 5 years from now saying, oh, it's been a 22% increase.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you have not missed the boat. So it's still a great time to buy. You know, plug in with us. We'll help you, you know, understand the current market, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, plug in with our friends at Luminate. Mike Overson and his team do a wonderful job. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to the Minnesota Real Estate Show here on News Talk 830 WCCO. Have a great weekend. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in on social media 5 years from now. Scott, are you going to have a full head of hair 5 years from now?
Oh, I think so. I think I've lost everything I'm going to lose. Mine fell out. I remember mine fell out for like 6 months. From like when I was 27,
Yeah.
6 months later, like I didn't think it was a stop, and then it stopped, and then I haven't lost anything since. So I'm fine with it.
Hey, have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy Memorial Day.